The teacher fell asleep in class, and a little naughty boy walked up to him. Little boy, teacher, are you sleeping in class? Teacher, no, I am not sleeping in class. Little boy, what were you doing, sir? Teacher, I was talking to God. The next day, the naughty boy fell asleep in class, and the same teacher walked up to him. Teacher, young man, you were sleeping in my class. Little boy, no, not me, sir, I am not sleeping. Angry teacher, what were you doing? Little boy, I was talking to God. Angry teacher, what did he say? Little boy, God said he never spoke to you yesterday. A lady walked into a pet shop demanding a parrot. The owner of the shop says, "We have two kinds of parrots. One repeats everything you say, and the other thinks for itself." Lady, I think I'll like the ones that think for themselves. The owner brought out her choice and told her to ask the parrot some questions. Lady, how do I look? Parrot, you look like a prostitute. Lady, I won't buy it. This parrot is ruder. Owner, please, madam, just give me a moment. Walk towards the backyard with the parrot. He dipped the parrot into a bucket full of water and warned the parrot, "If you're rude to that lady one more time, I will drown you in this bucket." When the man came back to the counter, he told the lady, "Now ask the parrot anything you wish, and I assure you that he will be polite." Conversation. Lady, if I come home at night with a man, what will you call this man? Parrot, your husband. Lady, good. What if I come home with two men? Parrot, your husband and your in-law. Lady, good, good. What if I come home with three men? Parrot, your husband, your in-law, and your brother? Lady, good. What if I come home with four men? Parrot, looking back at the owner, and said, "Please just go and drown me again. I said earlier that this woman is a prostitute." A man was suspecting his wife of cheating. He decided to go to his village and consult a jujitsu man. The Juju man told him to come back in 2 weeks, bringing along some samples of sand from his yard. So the man went back after 2 weeks with the sample of sand. The Juju man performed his rites and said to the man, "I don't know if you can handle hearing this." The man said, "Go ahead, I want to hear it." The Juju man said, "The two boys you have are not your sons. Your daughter is seeing 5 different men, and your wife is pregnant for your younger brother." The man started laughing. The young man asked him why he was laughing after all this, and the man responded, "I don't know if you can handle this." The Juju man said, "Go ahead." The man said, "I was running late and I forgot to bring the sand sample from my yard, so I dug out some from your compound. My wife and I had a fight today, and she threw the wedding ring out of the window and went to her room. I ran to where the ring fell and picked it up. Then I went out to buy her something to eat. I took it to the room and apologized. She accepted my apology and regretted her actions. Then she went searching for the ring. She spent 2 hours looking for it in the yard under the full sun while the ring was in my pocket. I waited for the 3rd hour. Then I went there, gave it to her and said, I found it 3 hours ago. That's how another fight started. The teacher asks his class one day, what would you like to be when you grow up? Johnny answers first, saying, I will follow in my father's footsteps and become a policeman. The teacher raises his eyebrows and says, Johnny, I didn't know your father is a policeman. Well, he isn't, explains Johnny. He's a burglar. Aunt Bessie loved to visit her nieces and nephews. However, she had relatives all over the country. The problem was that no matter how much she enjoyed seeing them, she hated flying. No matter how safe people told her it was, she was always worried that someone would have a bomb on the plane. She read books about how safe it was and listened to the stewardess demonstrate all the safety features. But she still worried herself silly every time a visit was coming up. Finally, the family decided that maybe if she saw the statistics, she'd be convinced. So they sent her to a friend of the family who was an actuary. "Tell me," she said suspiciously, "what are the chances that someone will have a bomb on a plane?" The actuary looked through his tables and said, "A very small chance. Maybe 1 in 500,000. She nodded, then thought for a moment. "So what are the odds of 2 people having a bomb on the same plane?" Again, he went through his tables. "Extremely remote," he said. "About 1 in a billion." Aunt Bessie nodded and left his office. And from that day on, every time she flew, she took a bomb with her. When I went to get my driver's license renewed, our local motor vehicle bureau was packed. The line inched along for almost an hour until the man ahead of me finally got his license. He inspected his photo for a moment and commented to the clerk. I was standing in line so long, I ended up looking pretty grouchy in this picture. The clerk looked at his picture closely. "It's okay," he reassured the man. "That's how you're going to look when the cops pull you over anyway." The manager hired a new secretary. She was young, sweet, and polite. One day, while taking dictation, she noticed his fly was open. While leaving the room, she courteously said, "Oh, sir, did you know that your barracks door is open?" He did not understand her remark, but later on he happened to look down and saw that his zipper was open. He decided to have some fun with his new employee. Calling her in, he asked, "By the way, Miss Jones, when you saw my barracks door open this morning, did you also see a soldier standing at attention?" The secretary, who was quite witty, replied, "Why, no, sir. All I saw was a little, disabled veteran sitting on 2 duffel bags." Mom is exhausted from watching Junior all day, so she sends him over to the construction site to spend the afternoon. At the end of the day, Junior comes home and Mom asks, "So, what did you learn today?" "Well, Mom, I learned that when you hang a door, if it doesn't fit quite right, you take it down, shave off just a hair, then put it back in. If it fits, great, and if not..." "Junior," Mom interrupts, "you need to watch your language around here." Junior looks at her confused, but Mom sends him to his room to think about it. When Dad gets home, Mom explains the whole situation. Dad calls Junior in and says, "Your mom tells me you learned some new words today. Can you tell me exactly what you said?" Junior explains about the door and shaving just a hair off the top. Dad sighs, "Son, we don't use language like that around here. Now go outside and pick out a switch." Junior gives him a look and says, "A switch? Oh, come on, Dad. That's the electrician's job, not mine." 3 moms, a brunette, a redhead, and a blonde, are chatting about their daughters. The brunette sighs and says, "I went into my daughter's room to get some gum and found a pack of cigarettes. I can't believe she's smoking." The redhead shakes her head and says, I found a fake ID in my daughter's bag last week. I can't believe she's sneaking into bars. Then the blonde chimes in, that's no thing. I found a condom in my daughter's purse. I just can't believe she's got a boyfriend. John and Dan are in a mental institution that has an annual contest that picks 2 of the best patients and gives them 2 questions. If they answer correctly, they are released. John is called into the doctor's office first. The doctor says, John, what would happen if I poked out one of your eyes? John says, I'd be half blind. That's correct. What would happen if I poked out both your eyes? As I'd be completely blind. The doctor tells him that he is free to go. On John's way out, he tells Dan the questions and answers. The doctor asks Dan, what would happen if I cut off one of your ears? Dan says, I'd be half blind. The doctor, slightly puzzled, continues, what would happen if I cut off both your ears? I'd be completely blind. Dan, how can you explain that you'd be blind? Asks the doctor. Well, replies Dan, my hat would fall over my eyes. An out-of-towner drove his car into a ditch in a desolated area. Luckily, a local farmer came to help with his big strong horse named Buddy. He hitched Buddy up to the car and yelled, pull, Nelly, pull! Buddy didn't move. Then the farmer hollered, pull, Buster, pull! Buddy didn't respond. Once more, the farmer commanded, pull, Coco, pull! Nothing. Then the farmer nonchalantly said, pull, Buddy, pull! And the horse easily dragged the car out of the ditch. The motorist was most appreciative and very curious. He asked the farmer why he called his horse by the wrong name 3 times. Well, Buddy is blind, and if he thought he was the only one pulling, he wouldn't even try. A plane had 4 people in it: a lawyer, a teenage boy, a priest, and a young blonde girl. The pilot told them that the plane was going to crash, but there were only 3 parachutes. The 4 passengers began discussing their predicament. The blonde said, I look beautiful, so I should get one. So she jumped off with one. The lawyer said, I help people solve their problems, so I should get one. So he jumped off with one too. Now there were only 2 people left, the priest and the teenage boy. The priest said to the boy, here you take the last parachute and go, because you will live a longer life than me. However, the young boy said, no, it's all right, because there are still 2 parachutes left. The blonde just took my backpack. A foreign woman is asked out on a date and happily accepts. The boy picks her up, and they head to a carnival in town. They ride a few attractions, play some games, and seem to be getting along well. After a while, the boy asks, what do you want to do now? I want away, she says. Oh, okay, thinks the boy, a bit confused. They walk over to the weight and fortune machine, and she gets her weight and fortune read. They continue playing games and stop for some food. Later, the boy asks again, what do you want to do now? I want away, she repeats. The boy scratches his head, but obliges. taking her back to the weight and fortune machine. After more games and a spectacular fireworks show, he asks once more, "What do you want to do now?" "I want away," she says again. By now, the boy has had enough. "Darn," he thinks, "she's too weird for me." He drives her home and drops her off. As she walks inside, her sister asks, "How was your date?" She replies, "Z says the blonde." Early this morning, I woke my wife up and asked her, "Would you like to join me for jogging?" Wife: "Oh, so you mean to say I am fat?" Husband: "No, baby. We both know that jogging is good for health." Wife: "Oh, that means I am sick." Husband: "No, no. If you don't want to get up, then it's okay." Wife: "So now you think I am lazy, huh?" Husband: "No, you are misunderstanding me. I didn't mean..." Wife: "Aha, so I don't understand you because I'm illiterate, right?" Husband: "Now look, I didn't say that." Wife: "So am I lying?" Husband: "I beg you, please don't stretch it out with me this morning." Wife: "Oh, now, so I am a quarrelsome nag, am I?" Husband: Okay, you go off to sleep. I am going jogging alone. Love you, bye." Husband: "You always go alone everywhere and enjoy yourself. That is how you will carry one girl from nowhere and start using your stupid celebrity rubbish to fornicate. God will judge you. After everything I have done for you in this marriage, you still want to cheat on me, right?" Husband: Please. How is jogging related to me cheating on you now? See, I am confused. Ooh." Wife: "See, you are so selfish. Always think of yourself alone. You never think of my health. You never think of our kids. Crying again? Ha! Emma, I don't like how you treat me in this house." Husband: Okay. Shift for me. I am not jogging again. I want to sleep. In fact, I will never jog again in my life. I have been on the bed for 2 hours now, thinking where I went wrong. Which kind wahala be this one now? See me see, wahala, ooh. Till now I'm still in bed. Last week, we took some friends to a new restaurant called Steve's Place and noticed that the waiter who took our order carried a spoon in his shirt pocket. It seemed a little strange. When the busboy brought our water and utensils, I observed that he also had a spoon in his shirt pocket. Then I looked around and saw that all the staff had spoons in their pockets. When the waiter came back to serve our soup, I inquired, "Why the spoon?" "Well," he explained, "the restaurant's owner hired Anderson Consulting to revamp all of our processes. After several months of analysis, they concluded that the spoon was the most frequently dropped utensil. It represents a drop frequency of approximately 3 spoons per table per hour. If our personnel are better prepared, we can reduce the number of trips back to the kitchen and save 15 man-hours per shift." As luck would have it, I dropped my spoon, and he replaced it with his spare. I'll get another spoon next time I go to the kitchen, instead of making an extra trip to get it right now. I was impressed. I also noticed that there was a string hanging out of the waiter's fly. Looking around, I saw that all of the waiters had the same string hanging from their flies. So, before he walked off, I asked the waiter, "Excuse me, but can you tell me why you have that string right there?" "Oh, certainly." Then he lowered his voice. "Not everyone is so observant. That consulting firm I mentioned also learned that we can save time in the restroom. By tying this string to the tip of our you-know-what, we can pull it out without touching it and eliminate the need to wash our hands, shortening the time spent in the restroom by 57%. I asked quietly, "After you get it out, how do you put it back?" "Well," he whispered, "I don't know about the others, but I use the spoon." 3 ducks walk into a restaurant. The waiter finds them sort of cute, so he pours each of them a cold drink. He asks the first one, "What is your name?" "Dewey," he says. "And how was your day?" The duck smiled. "I had lots of fun jumping up and down on puddles." "That's nice." He asked the second one, "And what is your name?" "Louis," the second duck replied. "And how was your day?" "Oh, wonderful. I spent all day jumping up and down on puddles too." He turned to the third and asked, "What is your name?" The third duck snarled, "Puddles, and I have had a miserable day." An investment counselor decided to go out on her own. She was shrewd and diligent, so business kept coming in. And pretty soon she realized that she needed an in-house counsel. The investment banker began to interview young lawyers. "As I'm sure you can understand," she started off with one of the first applicants, "in a business like this, our personal integrity must be beyond question." She leaned forward. "Mr. Mayberry, are you an honest lawyer?" "Honest?" replied the job prospect. "Let me tell you something about honest. Why, I'm so honest that my father lent me $15,000 for my education, and I paid back every penny the minute I tried my very first case." "Impressive! And what sort of case was that?" asked the investment counselor. The lawyer squirmed in his seat and admitted, "He sued me for the money." The teacher was trying to put to use her recent psychology education. She asked everyone in her class, "All right, if any of you think you are stupid, please stand up." A few seconds pass by, and then little Johnny stands up. Startled, the teacher says, "Oh, do you think you're stupid, little Johnny?" "No, miss, but I didn't want to leave you standing all alone." The new family in the neighborhood overslept, and their 6-year-old daughter missed her school bus. The father, though late for work himself, had to drive her. Since he did not know the way, he said that she would have to direct him to the school. They rode several blocks before she told him to turn the first time, several more before she indicated another turn. This went on for 20 minutes. But when they finally reached the school, it proved to be only a short distance from their home. The father, much annoyed, asked his daughter why she'd led him around in such a circle. The child explained, "That's the way the school bus goes, Daddy. It's the only way I know."